everyone, welcome to another week's video. Today I have something new and exciting to share with you. I just got this in the post today. 24 watercolor half pen set from Lightwish. These are artist grade watercolors. They have recently released those, and I saw a video from Lily Moon here on YouTube swatching them, and I was so intrigued that I decided to contact the company and ask if they would be willing to send me a set to test and share here with you as well, which they obliged to. So I'm very happy to have those to show to you today. Before that, I would like to, as usual, thank everyone that has been following me here. You are the ones that allow me to collaborate with brands like this, so I can have more things to share with you. If you like the content, don't forget to give me that thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so and hit that notifications button to know when I'll be sharing my next video. All of that really help me and the channel to grow and to be seen by more people. And leave your comments at the end as well. I love reading your comments and I try my best to reply to all of them. I love the color, this light purple lilac color with gold details. And I haven't tried anything from this brand so far, so it will be new for me. And I like the presentation. It comes with this pink flannel, and the box is also purple, which I really appreciate because I have quite a few boxes of watercolor pens around, and if it was black, it's always a struggle to figure out which of the boxes I'm reaching out for. So it's nice to have a different color so you can easily identify it. So it comes with this swatch sheet, which is made of watercolor paper, which is great because sometimes brands have these swatch sheets of very thin paper which do not show the best of the watercolors. So I appreciate them including proper watercolor paper for the swatching. And here are the colors, and it comes with a brush as well, which is also purple, so we are all on theme over here. Lightwish. And yeah, there's no indication, I believe, about the brush. I'll try to do some research on the listing to see if I find more information about what type of brush it is. Now I just gave it a little bath here to soften the bristles. It looks like a nice mop type of brush, very soft. Now I'm gonna take some time off camera to unwrap all of these. So I'm almost done unwrapping all of my pens over here. I just wanted to share this with you before I put them in place. So they come with this sticker on top, which has the name of the color and the pigment information. Here is the name, and here you have the pigment information. So what I've been doing with this is cutting the part where there is the name of the pen and sticking this back in the bottom of the pen, and then taking the little piece where there is the pigment information and sticking it on the side. This way you have all of your colors labeled in case you ever need to refer back to the colors. I prepared a swatch sheet in my usual sketchbook, which is the Bockingford Rough. I love this paper for swatching watercolor, so I wanted to try these colors on the same paper I've been using for swatching other brands. I'll be using a flat brush as usual. So let's start with the first one, which is Permanent Lemon Yellow, and this is pigment PY3, which is a very common pigment for lemon yellow. It's a very cool yellow, almost fluorescent. You can use it as a primary yellow. So let's dilute it a little bit here. It's very vibrant. This is great to do some, to create some greens. It has a very lovely tone when diluted as well. Now next one is cadmium yellow medium, and this is PY35. This is a warmer yellow, more red leaning. So with these you can make some beautiful oranges and muted greens. I have to say, so far I'm really impressed with these paints. Didn't expect them to be so vibrant and rich and easily activated with water. They are really behaving so far like artist grade paints. Let's see the next one, which is Indian yellow. This is PY83. This is even warmer, a bit more on the orange side. And this is also opaque in mass tone. Very, very rich. These colors are really, really pigmented, and a little goes a very long way. You can see here I'm having to clean my brush to be able to dilute it. The next one is called Scarlet, and this is PR123. I don't think I have ever tried this pigment before. I'm curious. This is a cool red. Very rich also. I understand now why Lily was so impressed with these paints as well, because they are indeed very pigmented and very vibrant. And this color is very beautiful in when it's diluted. It's they call it scarlet, but this to me looks more like a carmine type of color, or permanent rose. It's a very cool leaning type of red. Usually scarlets are a bit more yellow leaning, warmer, a bit more orangish. I'm trying to dilute it a bit more here. Really, really happy with this color so far. I love vibrant colors, and these don't disappoint. Now, next one is another cadmium. This is cadmium red, and this is PR108. These I have tried from other brands. It's supposed to be opaque and warm, so let's see. Indeed, it is very opaque. It's a kind of a fire engine red. It's so rich, I will have trouble diluting it now. Lovely red. because it's opaque, you can also use it for details on the top layer. Very lovely tone. Now we have Madder Red, that is PR177. There should be another cool red. Wow, this is really beautiful. It's a transparent color, really like wine red kind of. Wow, I'm so impressed. This color in mass tone is very beautiful. It's beautiful also diluted, but especially in mass tone, it's transparent. And now we have Violet, it's called. I had to double check because it's PV19, but it's called Violet. Even though PV19 can be more pink leaning and more purple leaning, so maybe this is more purple leaning. Yeah, it's a bit, look a bit like a quinacridone violet or magenta type of color. It's very beautiful. Oh, I love this. I hope it won't lose a lot of saturation as it dries. So far I haven't seen a lot of loss in saturation, which is also a great sign. Look at this color, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous PV19. I'm so glad I watched Lily's video and I was able to get this to try as well, because on Amazon there are so many different type of sets of watercolor nowadays that sometimes I don't fully trust when they say artist quality, and they really are indeed artist quality or professional quality. That's why I wanted to see them in person and test on the paper that I like. Now we have Permanent Violet, which is PV23, which is dioxazine purple. And this purple is really rich. Also, they have pigments like cadmiums that are more expensive, so you wouldn't necessarily find them in cadmiums or cobalts in student line. Usually you will have hues rather than the real pigment. This purple is super vibrant. It's almost black in mass tone, and it's a very pretty grape purple type of color when diluted. I'm trying to show you a bit more diluted over here. Really vibrant colors. Now we start with the blues, the first one being cobalt blue. Let me just slide this over here. This is also a very beautiful type of blue. I really love cobalt blues, all sorts of cobalts actually. And this you can, I hope you can already see here, it has some granulation. I can see the texture. You'll see it better when it dries. As usual, I will show you the close-ups once everything is dry. And this was PB28, by the way, the cobalt blue. Now we have the first convenience mix color. This is indigo, and this is a 3-pigment color with PV19, PBK6 and PB15. So red, black and blue pigments. Very dark, but I already can see that it has a very blue leaning, kind of a turquoise teal, which I love. I guess this is the PB15 portion of the mix. I really love this indigo. They call it indigo, but for me it's like a very deep turquoise color, which I like even more than indigo, to be honest. I'm trying to dilute a bit better here to show you. Really lovely color. I'm so excited with these colors. Another blue, which they call France Ultramarine, which is PB29, so French Ultramarine, and this should also be granulating. It's a very beautiful red leaning blue. It's a staple in every palette, and you can make beautiful grays with it, and burnt sienna or other type of reddish browns. Sea blue, which is PB15 column 3, so it's a phthalo. I think is the phthalo green shade, but let's see. Yeah, it's definitely the green shade, and it's a very beautiful color. Can make beautiful mixes with the primary yellow, the permanent lemon yellow. This is a cyan type of color, so perfect for mixing, which I'm definitely doing afterwards. Probably make a color chart or something, and then I'll share with you here as well. Gorgeous. No bad surprises so far. Let's keep going. Now we have the last blue, which is Prussian blue, PB27. And I didn't mention, but the Lightfast here seems to go up to 8, and they indicated Prussian blue with a 6, which I find it accurate, because Prussian blue is a color that fades in sunlight, but has this particular characteristic that if you put it back to a drawer or a closed space, it will revert to the original color. And some brands, they indicate this as Lightfast, even though it does change with sunlight. So the fact that they indicated a 6 for this color makes me trust even more the other Lightfastness that they have indicated. So far, the only other color that has a Lightfastness of 6 is the Madder Red, this one over here. I was going to say we start with the greens, but first we have a Payne's Gray, which is a 3-pigment mix, and it has a PB15, PB29 and PBK9. Let's see how this Payne's Gray look. Very rich in mass tone, almost black. Yeah, it's a nice charcoal dark gray as a Payne's Gray is supposed to be. No surprises there. I'll dilute it a bit more. Very beautiful. So you're starting with the greens, with the first being called Emerald Green Deep. It's a PG7, so it's a phthalo green, which is very useful for mixing. With this type of red makes a gorgeous gray, for example. It's a color that usually you don't reach out, or at least I don't reach out to use on its own, but it's really interesting for mixes. And it can make the most beautiful mint tones if you mix it with white, kind of light blue tones. Now we have Hooker's Green Brilliant. I'm saying it brilliant, but here on the swatch card, that's how it's spelled. So it's like they were not sure if they wanted to go with bright or brilliant. And this is PG17, which I believe is chrome oxide. I will correct myself here when I'm editing, in case I'm wrong. It's a very interesting though, because usually chrome oxide is a bit more muted. It's a kind of a grayish type of green. It's opaque, as this will be, I would call it semi-opaque. But this one is a bit more yellow than I would expect from this pigment. So very interesting. It does look like a Hooker's Green. Now we have Tree Green, and this is a convenience mix with 4 pigments. So we have PG36, phthalo green yellow shade, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have PY12, PR101, and PW5. That's really interesting, because to me this looks like a slightly darker, or as if sap green and Hooker's Green had a baby. That would be it. That's how it feels like to me. And diluted is very beautiful, very bright lime green type of color, which I really love. I don't see the white here at all. It doesn't seem to be pastel-like or opaque, but it does looks like it has texture. I am seeing here a little bit of granulation, it looks like, but you can only be certain when it dries. But so far, really enjoying this color. And the last green we have is a very bright yellow green, and this is a mix between PG36 and PY74. Very, very bright green. And the mastone is almost fluorescent. I love this type of color as well, even though I find it hard to use in painting sometimes because it's so vibrant. So it needs to be well thought in a palette. Very, very vibrant green. Now we have yellow ochre, PY42, which is one of the usual pigments for yellow ochre, and I just noticed now I got a bit of a stain here. So this is yellow ochre, very opaque as well. Very, very opaque, and it has a nice yellow tone, which I like in ochres actually. I like when the ochre is a bit more vibrant and yellower than muted. This is a lovely ochre. I hope it doesn't lose a lot of vibrancy. Look at the colors, like the brush handle here. Very beautiful ochre. Next is umber, which is PR101 and PBR7. I think that's the one that seems to have been switched. Yeah, definitely it doesn't look like an umber. It's closer to a burnt sienna. And it does have PR101, which sometimes is present in some burnt siennas. Some are made with PBR7 and some are made with PR101. It's a very rich, vibrant tone as well, with a wild value range, as you can see here, from mass tone to diluted. You have a lot of variation, and it's very luminous as well. Pozzuoli red ochre, which is PR101, and this seems to be opaque. It seems a bit like English red, Venetian red type of color. Yeah. Then we have what they call burnt sienna PB. Here it says PB7, but I believe it's a typo. Right pigment is PBR7, and this looks more like an umber. It's a cool type of brown. This is definitely not burnt sienna. But it's a useful brown to have in your palette anyways. Then second to last we have burnt brown, which is another PBR7. And this looks more to be even cooler, a bit greenish even, I would say, which I love. I've been really enjoying this type of greenish browns lately. But maybe that's just my impression. Maybe it's not that greenish, but it does have some texture, which reminds me a bit of Van Dyke brown type of color. Final one is ivory black, and this is PBR9, which is also unusual for ivory black. It's not a black pigment, it's a brown. I am not sure I have any other color from any other brand with this PBR9. Wow, very opaque and rich. But I'm curious as to how it will be when it's diluted, because some blacks diluted have a granulating texture that can be useful for mixes. It's so rich. I'm really having difficulty here washing my brush. So these are the 24 colors on the Lightwish Artist half pan set I've received. I'm really impressed with the quality of this set. I think that for the price it's really unbeatable. If you want to have an artist grade watercolor set at an affordable price, this is a very good option. I appreciate they didn't include a white. They did include a black, but it's a granulating black, it seems to be, at least, so it can add texture to your mixes, so it can be a useful addition to your palette. And I also appreciate the fact that they curated different tones of primaries. So you have 3 yellows plus an ochre, which could count as the 4th yellow. You have 4 reds, 5 blues even. You have also all of these browns. It's overall a very well thought palette, in my opinion. I'm very impressed with the variety of colors. There was no similar tones, which sometimes can happen in some palettes, even palettes from very well-known brands. 24 different colors, and out of these 24 there's 20 single pigments, which is also great. You have 4 convenience colors and 20 single pigments, which can also be helpful if you are not very familiar with color mixing, and then it will be a bit more straightforward when you are using single pigments. So now I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna do some color chart and color mixing exercises to share with you. So I'll see you soon. So these are the original 24 colors in this palette. I continue thinking that this is a great value for artist grade watercolors, which I do believe they are, because they behave very much like any other artist grade I've tried. They are very pigmented. I love the colors, love this red that I believe is the cadmium red. Yes, cadmium red, very beautiful cadmium red. Also the violet is a very nice color, very useful. I like their indigo mix. It looks very vibrant for an indigo, which I like. What can I say? Cobalt blue and French ultramarine are staples, as is phthalo blue, which they call sea blue. I really like this green, which is an unusual version of the pigment, a bit more vibrant than what I'm used to see for this pigment. I really love the Pozzoli red ochre. Look at how beautiful it is diluted. It has some granulation as well. And like I said, what took me long to get this video finished, it was actually this big boy over here. It has a lot of different variations for the primaries. You have 3 yellows, you have 4 reds, and then you have 4 blues, the phthalo green, and then some earth tones. So I didn't do all the 24, it would be too big of a chart. I just chose some single pigment colors which I thought would mix well. They are in the diagonal. You can see here that you can get a good variation of tones. You know, you have different type of yellows and oranges. Even over here with the earth tones, you can get some more earthy oranges using yellow ochre instead. Then you have a very good variation also of purples, as you can see here, cooler purples, warmer purples. And yeah, the way I did the chart, I tried to vary. Here I used more Indian yellow, less scarlet. Here I use more scarlet, less Indian yellow. So you get the idea. With greens, for example, I have cobalt blue and cadmium yellow. So here there's a lot of cadmium yellow with a bit of cobalt blue. And if I go to the cobalt blue section and cadmium yellow, here you can see it's more blue and less yellow. So just to show you the big variation you can get with this set. And I really like the texture that some of the colors can give. Colors that I mixed using granulating pigments like cobalt blue, French ultramarine, and what else? The one they call burnt sienna, the burnt brown, the ivory black, even the pozzoli red ochre. You can see this type of texture that I personally love. I find it interesting and natural for subjects like stones or greenery or brickwork. This is not the most premium paper I use for this color charts. This is Montval 200 GSM. It's a cellulose paper, so if you try doing these mixing exercises on better quality paper, of course you have even better results, but already here you can have a pretty good idea of the type of colors you can get. Like this deep green I got mixing cadmium red and emerald green. The ones I mixed with ivory black also, I know black is not a very popular color in watercolor, but I do like this ivory black for mixing some tones because it gives texture as well. Like I said, look at this sea blue with ivory black. I hope you can get an idea. It's a bit cloudy here today. I have the artificial lights on, but yeah, it's very lovely deep teal. You can also get some deep greens with that, and you can even get some lovely yellow or olive greens mixing with permanent yellow lemon. If you want to have some kind of jewel toned, very muted colors, you can see here they're all quite textured. And another thing also that I wanted to share that they sent me, I received this in a different shipment, so I couldn't film prior, was this little sketchbook, which is 100% cotton. And I love the format because I really like painting on square format. And this is 300 grams or 300 GSM hot press. Now, I'm not very familiar with painting on hot press. I usually prefer cold press, but I am curious to try and see how this paper performs. It has a nice fabric cover. I can see kind of look like linen type of cover. It has a pocket in the back. I want to try this paper, but because I'm always a bit intimidating on starting new sketchbooks, I am going to start from the back. That is my little trick. I usually do that when I want to start a new sketchbook. I noticed a slight difference between the back and the front of the paper, but it's very slight. The back of the paper feels ever so slightly more textured than the front. Let me see if the other sheets are the same, but it's very little. You wouldn't notice this by looking at it. It's just a touch test. This is slightly more smooth, the front of the paper. So I'm gonna try both sides, and because I don't want to overthink this. I think I'm going to do some circles with this ruler over here, just to see how the paint behaves. I just drew some random circles over here, and I'm going to be using the paints and see how these behave on different applications of watercolor. I also painted this type of tie-dye rainbow exercise over here using a lot of water. I wanted to see how the paper behaves. So now I'm gonna let this dry, and then we also remove the tape to see how good this paper is while using washi tape. So we'll be back soon. So I'm back with the result of my experimentation here. So here I have the first page of circles that I painted. You see the first one I did wet on wet, where I dropped some paint, diluted and less diluted. I got some really nice blooming from one color to another, no hard edges. Same here. Here I started painting wet on dry, and then I diluted the paint with some clear water. Also no hard edges, so I was able to get some gradation. Here I used a more opaque color. I got some salt. I didn't have a lot of texture, but it's a very tiny space, and the color I chose is also granulating, so it maybe was not the best way to show the salt, but I still got a little bit of texture over here. Here I did also some wet on wet, two colors blending into each other. You can see it's a nice blending, there's no hard edges. Here I did wet on dry, and then I dropped some paint, some clear water on top, so you can see some blooms over here. And here I did some glazing. I did some glazing here also after it was dry to see, and also here with some dots. So I have to say overall I was really happy with the paper, how it behaved, very nice to work with. Didn't notice any issues for this test. I added some washi tape. I thoroughly wet this paper with the brush that came with the set, this big boy over here. So I really threw a lot of water in the paper, and then I added the permanent yellow lemon, or permanent lemon yellow, and then I added the scarlet and the sea blue, and then I finished again with the permanent lemon yellow to see how they would blend into each other. And I really like the way it looks. It looks really tie-dye, kind of a 70s vibe. And I noticed here something I had already noticed when I swatched the color, but here it's more visible, that this blue the sea blue, that's also phthalo blue, is 15:3, is granulating, which is very unusual for phthalo blue, but I love it. It's very beautiful granulation, you can see here. I really like the way the colors mixed on paper. They look very luminous. And now for the final test, let's remove the washi tape. I'm gonna do it the way I usually do for my other paper. Beautiful clean edges, no tearing of the paper. Of course, this may be different with different tapes. This one I use on other papers as well, and I have had issues with the same tape in different papers. The colors still look very vibrant in this paper. I didn't have an issue that I usually have with that quality watercolor paper is a kind of feathering of edges when you paint, and all the edges get fuzzy and they get absorbed unevenly in the paper. It didn't happen with this paper whatsoever. So overall, I have to say I'm really impressed both with the paints and with this watercolor sketchbook 100% cotton. Like I said in the beginning of the video, these were provided to me for free from Lightwish, but it doesn't interfere at all with my opinion. I rarely receive any products to review here on the channel, and I never tried any Chinese watercolor paints or paper before, and I have to say really surprised, positively surprised with this. I'm not someone that usually paint on hot pressed paper, like I said, but for sure I'll be using this one. I really enjoyed painting on this one, and I think it's a great price. It's nice and portable. The square format also is good. You can do some illustrations that it will fit nicely with the Instagram grid if you're posting on Instagram. And yeah, I hope this was useful to you. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you are thinking of getting these colors for yourself, I have also some discount codes that Lightwish provided to me. I'm gonna leave all in the description below, the links, the discount. Doesn't interfere at all with the channel here. I'm not affiliated with them in any sort. It's just for you if you want to try these products. And let me know if you like the review, if you're thinking of using these, if you have used products from Lightwish before. I'm always curious to know, and I hope you have a nice week ahead of you, and I'll see you soon. Bye!